Earlier in 2025, I drove the new 2025 Audi S3, over 300 horsepower, an unsuspecting little all-wheel drive pocket rocket. It was incredible. It ranked in the A category in all the cars I reviewed so far in 2025. But what we have here is its little brother. This is a standard A3 tiny compact sedan. It is standard quattro, which is pretty cool for 2025. But we're gonna see how this stacks up to other cars that I've driven in the past, like the Acura Integra, like the Mazda turbo hatchback earlier this year. That also ranked really high on this list when I reviewed it, and that also has all-wheel drive and it's turbocharged, and it comes in a lot cheaper than this car. Should you just save your money and get a Mazda? Should you be looking at an Acura? Today we're going to find out. Underneath the hood is actually a very familiar powertrain to many Volkswagen branded vehicles. I drove this recently in the Tiguan, for example. This is the 2-liter 4-cylinder. It produces in this car 201 horsepower and 236 pound-feet of torque or so. It's made it to a 7-speed dual clutch here, where the Tiguan had a pretty slow 8-speed auto. Like I said, for 2025, the A3 is now standard quattro, so lots of grip here, lots of acceleration as well from this 4-cylinder. I'm getting about 29-30 miles per gallon in the time I've had it this week. Now, it doesn't come anywhere close to the sort of fun that you can have in the S3 that has over 120 horsepower more than this vehicle, despite the exact same engine, should I say, displacement. The S3 has more cooling, bigger turbo, that sort of thing. All right, underneath the hood though, we have this big pad here to reduce noise, one big strut to lift up this hood, two clamps here. This one's a little loose, but this one's a little bit more firm. But typically when you have two latches, it adds a little bit better body rigidity, and it's going to provide a better handling experience as well. No hybrids for our market. This is the only powertrain, unless you're getting the S3 or something like that, but this is the only powertrain that you're going to see on this Audi A3. The A3 I think looks incredible up front. This has a blacked out Audi logo package, and it doesn't have quite as much glossy black plastic as the S3, for example. You still have the fancier daytime running lights here. I think it's a very handsome sedan from the front. From the side, just like we had the Audi logo blacked out in the front, we have blacked out window surrounds here, large oversized roof here, a little blacked out piece here as well, kind of extension. This might be, that's glass as well to extend from here, which is a pretty cool piece. All right, smart key access on the front and the back. That's nice for the kids, or at least helping me get the kids inside. All right, these are pretty small wheels, 18-inch machine finished wheels here, 225 width with 40 thickness here. These Goodyear Eagle Sports, I think they've actually been pretty good this week for this sort of performance this car has. But when you're looking at an Audi from the side, I'm looking for clean lines, a very unsuspecting but yet elegant image, and the Audi A3 hits that. Now this is kind of a miss, you know, if you're doing standard all-wheel drive on the Audi A3, don't you want people to know? There's no quattro badge back here on this A3 sedan. I do really like the rear taillights. I do think they look pretty upscale. No exhaust tips visible. A bit of a miss. At least a double barrel exhaust tip would look really nice on here. All right, blacked out Audi logo, A3 logo here. Let's look in the trunk. Kind of a soft release, which was nice. Do we have a spare tire? The answer is yes. It is full diameter, but not full width. That thing is going to be very lightweight, though. Pretty easy to swap on in a pinch. A little 12-volt accessory back here. You can actually fold these seats down. Looks like 40-20-40, so great flexibility. The Germans are good about allowing their luxury cars to have a ski pass through, just in case you want to take a trip to the Alps. Inside the A3, come on, bro, this is a luxury sedan. We can't get soft touch up here. Now the Sonos sound system, I will say this, excellent mids and highs. The lows are okay, but it can't hit the really deep bass notes. But I do like this sound system. It's not the loudest, but it sounds good. Mat pockets on each side. This seat is set up for me at 6'1", so I'm actually pretty pleasantly surprised with the individual seat, but I do feel a bit cramped with the shoulder room here. Headroom's actually decent too. It hasn't been the easiest taking the kids to school this week with all their backpacks. I kind of have to get creative, but most people are not loading this up with 4 little children and backpacks that are as big as heavy as they are. I do have vents in the back. I have 2 USB-Cs down here, and I do have a fold down armrest as well built into the middle seat, or should I say middle cushion, that can also fold down in that 20 split that I talked about earlier. I like how, yeah, I mean, I'm really impressed with the headroom here. They even have lights above, handles, and they didn't make the sunroof so big that would eat into your headroom. It kind of stops right behind the seat here, that sunroof. Stitching back here is nice. No heated seats back here or anything like that. Let's get into the front seat. All right, inside the Audi A3, lot of black in here. I'll look on the builder if you can get a different interior color, but I wouldn't be surprised if your options are pretty limited. Seat has actually been quite comfortable this week. They have a little bit of suede on the outside, but it's a dark gray, so it's kind of hard to notice. All right, vents are in a great spot for air conditioning. Air conditioning's been good. However, when I need to defog this car, it has been frustrating, and let me explain why. The defroster on the rear windshield works like crap. It almost needs a rear windshield wiper. But what's worse than the rear defrost not working is the side mirrors. The side mirror defrost, even if you put it on either front or rear, I believe they're synced to the rear though, they don't defog. Let me repeat, they don't defog at all. So if you're in this car and you have like moisture on the windows, yes, the front windshield will defog. I spent about 20-30 minutes driving down the road and I couldn't see out of my side mirrors. So you're gonna have to wipe off your side mirrors on your brand new luxury car before you start driving. Now, I've looked on forums in Europe. Apparently they are intelligently controlled. Under 5 degrees Celsius or 41 degrees Fahrenheit, they will start defogging then. This climate where I live, it can be 75, 76 degrees in the morning, sometimes hotter, and the whole car is covered in moisture. It is frustrating, unacceptable, and a complete oversight from Audi, all right, to not have functional defogging mirrors in a luxury car of all things. All right, now that that's out of the way, there's a lot of reflective surfaces in here, a lot of glossy black here, around the screen, over here. It hasn't bothered me too much this week because yes, and I do have some reflective vents. So, you know, I know when I start driving this, now it's sunny out today, it's probably gonna blind me, but I'll talk about that when I drive. I'll let you know if it blinds me while I'm driving it with the sun up. Soft touch here. The door has sort of soft touch. This is too cheap of a material, and this is the same for all Audis. You get inside an $80,000, $90,000 e-tron, and it's just cheap plastic everywhere. And in fact, where I rest my knee here on the center console, all plastic all the way down, not even fake stitching, but you know what? They'll put ambient light in here, so your knee will be at least lit up instead of it being comfortable. So, all right, I wouldn't want to be in here for a long road trip unless I put my own adhesive little keyboard pad and stick it on here so my knee doesn't get discomforted. I don't have a volume knob per se. Here's a little 12 volt that I mistakenly thought was a volume knob. I'm like, oh, that's not a bad place for a volume knob right here, kind of where Mazda puts their volume knobs. Nope, it's this like weird scrolly thing that it's just, and it's complete touch capacitive. I don't use it. I just use the scroll wheel here. It's not quite as fast as this, but at least I don't take my hands off the steering wheel. So yeah, this is stupid down here. The only time I use this little circular pad is to turn off the radio fast, which I guess I can do it here with pressing this button. I like the physical buttons down here. For drive select, you have auto, comfort, dynamic, and individual. You can turn off traction control, parking camera. Yeah, it's a backup camera only. Now I do have sensors in the front, but for 46K should have a 360 camera. That's just my opinion. You also have auto parking feature here, which if you can't park this small of a car, maybe you shouldn't be driving. I'm pretty fiery today. There's all sorts of other safety features you can here to enable or disable with this button. Love the buttons for physical climate control. Okay, I don't need to say anything else there. I don't have ventilated seats, which is a miss also for $46K, but I do have heated seats. The steering wheel is leather, it's really nice. Paddle shifters, I don't have a touch capacitive steering wheel, thank God. Real buttons here and real dials to shift through different things. So really, really happy for the most part from an ergonomics perspective. Seats good, materials are just really, really poor. I do have a wireless charger as well. All right, so with that being said, isn't that interesting? The last thing I mentioned here is the touchscreen. It's been fine. You can use Apple CarPlay, Android Auto in here. Like I said, the Sonos sound system in here is great. All right, I'm not gonna bore you guys going through a touchscreen. It's perfectly fine, and that hasn't given me any issues this week. Besides, when my kids want to change the ambient lighting in here, it won't let you do a custom ambient lighting color when you're driving. Meanwhile, you can do everything else in the screen, but you can't customize your ambient light. It's just like some of the decisions that are made just don't make any sense. Garage door opener with this auto dimming rear view mirror. Again, big oversized sunroof, a little vanity mirror. And let's drive the Audi A3. Is it any good? All right, the first thing you notice when you get into the A3, you can't really see the hood. Now I have the seat all the way down, but the hood is very short. You feel almost goat cart like, or I just said goat cart. That's like my childhood coming out when you don't know really how to say things. Like my kids say cake pop demon hunter instead of K-pop. You know what I mean. Anyways, go-kart like seating. I feel like I'm on the road, not that much higher than an MX-5 Miata, for example. I personally love it. I love feeling low to the ground. I love not having too big of a hood on front of me. I feel like I'm right on the road. I'm ready to race in this car. So like the persona of it wants to be fun. It wants to be nimble, and I think they nailed it. Like I said, the seat comfort's good, but in the back it's tight. Road comfort is pretty good here, despite having, you know, thinner tires with these 18-inch wheels. Like, ride quality's been surprisingly good. And I remember that with the S3 too. The S3 could be perfectly fine as just a slow-going luxury car, but also had, you know, the very high performance edge to it as well. German cars are known to have typically pretty good brakes. The Audi here doesn't have quite the same initial bite, of course, as the S3, which I don't expect it to. It's really predictable, really linear, a nice solid feedback from the pedal, great brake pedal, and this vehicle doesn't weigh that much, so that's nice. So what we're going to do, we're going to put it into dynamic mode or drive select. There we go. Did it the second time I pressed it. I remember that being an issue in the S3 as well. Sometimes this drive select button didn't always work. Okay, and we're going to turn off traction control. Apparently Audis don't like traction control on for 0 to 60s, but here we go. Torque brake. Oh gosh. That was terrible launch. Absolutely horrific launch. The 0 to 60 is going to be bad. 7.8 seconds. That's with traction control off. I think it'd be better if I didn't torque brake it. That was really bad. 7.8, that's not good for a car of this price, nor for a car of its pedigree, I should say. This car should be much faster than that. So back on the brakes are great, and we're just gonna go. Oh my gosh! And then it takes off like at 3,000 RPM. Why can't this vehicle launch? There's probably some secret. You guys are always quick to point out. That was 7.17, so it's better when you don't brake boost it. Just doesn't make sense. So yeah, you can't, at least in my brief testing, it doesn't like to be launched, which reduces the fun of it. Like at just coming, oh, there's cops up here, so good thing I got my 0 to 60s done before I ran to the cops. Like it doesn't want to jump off the line, and that's like one of the benefits of all-wheel drive. You should be able to just punch it off the line. This car does not want to punch off the line, which is really, really unfortunate. I'm going to take it out of dynamic mode because in dynamic mode, it keeps the revs really high. It's a little buzzy. But what are Audis typically really good for? Lord have mercy. But there's no throttle there because I took it out of sport mode. So here's the thing. Handle's great. Brakes great. you're going to have good performance, but you're probably going to have to use the paddle shifters to get the most out of it, because this transmission takes a lot of the fun out of the equation. You can't launch with it. And when you try to power over turn, unless you're in the perfect gear by choosing the right gear with your manual paddle shifters, it's just not going to, it's not going to want to party. So that being said, it nails performance and braking and handling, and not in the powertrain department. It's just serviceable for its class and powertrain. In fact, I would take the Mazda's powertrain over this. It feels way more torque, way peppier, and that transmission, that 6-speed in the Mazda, is way more, I wouldn't say quick because they shift quick, but it's way more likely to give you what you want when you want. All right, pedal down here. Yeah. It's nothing close to what the S3 is and how eager that transmission is. Okay, so a little disappointed with the powertrain here on this Audi A3. Is it better? Is it better than the CVT and the Integra? And the answer is, you bet your butt it is. Okay, let's go again. Try to power out of a turn, and you're waiting a little bit, but then you get this turbo surge of torque and power. It eventually hits you, but it's not like on demand. I want it to be on demand, but you have to wait for it, and that just kind of takes the enjoyment out of it for me. What about sound as I hear that van go by? I think it's been a very quiet car. I don't have acoustic glass either. Road noise is very minimal, wind noise very minimal, ambient noise very minimal. So it does feel like a very sealed off car with this A3 that's built in Germany. All right, what is this guy doing? Maybe this is a good opportunity to stop the driving impressions here. I just have double yellow lines as well. To stop the driving impressions and head back into the office, look for deals on the A3 and ultimately cross shop it against its closest rivals. And we'll also put it on the spreadsheet and rank it. Is it going to rank as high as the S3? Let's find out. All right, let's cross shop the A3. Let's see. There's only 52 of these in my area. 47K, 42K. Again, all of them are going to have the same exact powertrain, quattro 4-cylinder turbo. Around 40K, it's an okay buy. I wouldn't be upset with that. Mine was priced at like 46K. And there's so many other cars I would rather have for the money. All right. What about the S? I'm curious. I haven't looked at S3s in a while. There's only 3 in my area. S3s are 58, 60K. They're very expensive. Very, very expensive. I don't know. But if you can get this yellow one for 20 or 55K, that's a much better buy. Again, tiny car. I think this should be priced around 50K. For the S3. That's just my opinion. All right, what about the Integra? Well, I cannot recommend the Integra CVT whatsoever. An A3 is infinitely better. Okay, at least from a driver's perspective, the interior is bigger on an Integra. You have a lift back. All right, but we want the 6-speed manual here. 6-speed manual is a way to go, and you can get them for 40K. I think this is a better buy than the A3, but I haven't reviewed this car this year, so it's not on the spreadsheet. But I've reviewed in the past. I would take an A-spec 6-speed manual for sure over this quattro all-wheel drive. Would I take an Integra Type S over a S3? And the answer is probably. Look, it's priced better. It's crazy to say, but it's priced better. So I'd probably take it over an S3 unless you need all-wheel drive or you just want an automatic, and I get it. Anyways, let's keep moving. What about the Mazda 3 turbo? We need to consider the turbos here because that's what we're talking in terms of performance. All right. The turbos, here's the thing. I think the Mazda 3 turbo, sedan or hatchback, is better than the A3. And the A3, again, mine was at 46K. You can get these for 37, under 40K. Well under 40K, much better buy than an A3. It's more fun to drive, believe it or not. You don't have nearly as much turbo lag or transmission lag, and the interior is nicer. Okay, you still get all-wheel drive on it. Much, much, much better buy. Mini hardtop, I would take a Mini over it. I think it has better ride quality. It handles just as well, has a lot more cutesy charm to it. Yes, I would take a Mini over the Audi A3 as well. Now, I've only reviewed the convertible and I really enjoyed it. But yeah, the hardtop I'd probably take over the Mini convertible. That's just me. Let me know if you guys would agree with that. There's no manual left on this vehicle, but the 8-speed auto in here runs laps around the 7-speed dual clutch that you see in the Audi A3. So where does it end up on the spreadsheet here? All right. It has great handling. Also, there's something I didn't mention in my review. The A3 does not have auto brake hold. That drives me bonkers. Not only do the side mirror defrost doesn't work, it doesn't even offer auto brake hold. You can start getting that now in Audis and electric cars like the e-trons. They have auto brake hold, for example, but this A3, and I'm pretty sure the S3 didn't have it either. Okay, great handling. I like its compact nature. And it's a fun to drive car, you know, if you have it in the right gearing. All right. There's no manual option. That would fix most of my issues with it. The transmission's too sleepy, plastic and cheap interior, no window. And I've already mentioned the lack of defog on the mirrors and the rear window, and no auto brake hold. Okay. So yeah, it's not that great of a car for the money. It's not a good car. To me, yeah, I've been struggling with this all week. Where do I place it? Do I place it in B category as a solid buy, or C category as fire sale only? It's made it to C category because I couldn't honestly pay full price for it, and because there's so many other cars, Integra, that I can get for less money with a manual. I'm not even talking about the Type S versus the S3. That's a different video, okay? The Mazda 3 is a better executed vehicle, better interior, better features like auto brake hold, for crying out loud. All right, for less money. Safety features are better on the Audi, I will say that, but you get the Audi because, in my opinion, it should be the most fun to drive for the money, and it just isn't. Okay, the S3 is a different category, and the Mini is much more fun as well. So it's a fire sale only for the Audi A3. Where would I put it in this sort of category? Again, none of these are actually ranked. You got to keep them in mind. They're just kind of in the same slog together. There's no rhyme or reason to it. All right, what about the Giulia? Would I pick a Giulia over it? Because that's kind of the same category, right? The Giulia is actually more fun to drive. The Giulia is more fun to drive. You can get it in four-wheel drive, the Giulia, but you can also get it in rear-wheel drive. The steering's a little bit sharper here than the Audi. I can't believe I'm saying that. I think I'd rather have the Alfa Romeo Giulia than the A3. I think it looks better too. All right. It's a little bit more loud. I get it, but I think the Alfa is better. Let me pull it up real quick. And like the A3, there are not that many in my area. There's actually more Alfas. I love the blue, love the green. Yeah, 46K. That's for the same price, I guess you could say, for the same price as the A3 that I drove. This is a much more responsive and fun to drive vehicle. But what do you guys think? I can't believe it's, you know, I didn't hate driving the A3. I just think it's a terrible value and the interior is really bad for the money that you're paying for it. All right. So I'll see you guys in the comments. Let me know if you agree or disagree. And stay tuned for more reviews. If you look at the the S3 and SQ7 made it almost into S category. So if you're thinking I'm just an Audi hater, that's definitely not the case. All right. The SQ6 e-tron was a better executed vehicle than the A3. All right. And still, I put that in fire sale only. It's just too much. It's just terrible value. Terrible, terrible value. The Q5, a better vehicle. The Q6, a better vehicle. So I'll see you guys. Thank you for staying this long in the video. It means a lot to me, helps me out with the algorithm, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe out there. Peace.